Good morning and welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton and I'm bringing to you the daily, and it's a very early one for you today. We've had time to compute what happened at the weekend. I've had a little bit of more time to think about what's actually happened at the weekend. I've been listening to Russ. I've been seeing all your points of view in the chat. I've been seeing people's points of view on social media. And yeah, you can't help but think that there is a lot of growing discontent within the squad after our relegation fears were deepened after a 4-0 defeat at Brighton. It wasn't just a defeat, it was an absolute mm, onslaught. An absolute onslaught. I've been talking to family members, I've been talking to kids, and I've actually been saying for the first time ever, like, if you want to watch a dominant form of football where a team pass the ball consistently, a mixture of sideways, backwards, and forwards, but keep possession, hold on to possession, then you make sure you watch the Brighton versus West Ham game, because what you're going to witness is an absolute onslaught and a fantastic performance from a team like Brighton. We could not get the ball at all, and it was a symbolic performance, and it has absolutely caused alarm. It absolutely has. Even it's caused an alarm amongst fans that maybe had more positivity than others, i.e., me. But it still leaves us a point above the bottom three, and we have to try and shift this decrepit, rubbish mood that we're in. And when we travel now in the Europa Conference League to Cyprus to take on AEK Larnaca in the last 16 of the Europa Conference League on Thursday, and then we host Aston Villa in the Premier League on Sunday, we need to shift this mood somehow or another. But Moyes still has not lost the support of his hierarchy. His tactics, though, seem to be causing a little bit of unease in the dressing room, and it's understood that some players have grown wary of his caution and feel that that is holding him back. Now, this has been confirmed by Stuart Pearce, who has done very big interviews in the media in the last couple of months talking about how David Moyes does go on the side of caution, and that will have a negative impact on some players. Maybe not all, but definitely on some players, and in particular, probably the new players. And there potentially is an increasing lack of faith in his approach to games, and he's had little success with attempts to introduce a more attacking style this season. We all know David Moyes likes consistency. We all know he likes the motivation continuing game to game. But what gets me is the fact that we come off such a fantastic victory against Nottingham Forest, a good performance against Manchester United, albeit we get knocked out, and we step up against Brighton as if we've not done any form of homework and no prep in advance of the game. David Moyes said about the game, we will not accept what happened today. We're going to try and do something about it and make sure the next performance is much better. I mean, to be fair, you don't have to do much to be better. You need to get a hold of the ball. That's the key part. You need to get a hold of the football. That's what we couldn't do at all. But it's been understood that there was unease after David Moyes named a defensive side when West Ham took on Tottenham last month. And it was felt that that kind of cautious tactics, 5-3-2, gave West Ham probably little chance of winning the game. We lost the game 2-0 and we barely created chances. And you add that to the game against Brighton, then it catapults into a lot of negativity. And then you have little moments. You have Everton, you have Nottingham Forest, you're picking up a point against Chelsea, and all those things maybe cover over some of the situations at West Ham. And that defeat against Brighton definitely heightened the pressure on Moyes, or even the defeat against Spurs heightened the pressure on Moyes. Actually, it was the defeat against Spurs that heightened the pressure on him, and going into the game against Nottingham Forest made it worse and worse and worse in terms of pressure. But he defeated Nottingham Forest at home 4-0 in a dominant display from start to finish. We didn't score a goal in the first half, but we did get 4 goals in the second half. And apparently, and it would be exuberant, the atmosphere around the squad and the players and in the dressing room, and, you know, probably highlighting the fact that when this team do perform, that they can produce positive performances, especially under David Moyes, who did manage to dig deep and get victories over Nottingham Forest and Everton, respectively. But there does remain and there remains a desire for Moyes, who has helped West Ham qualify for consecutive seasons in Europa League and in Europe in general. And it looks like the draws against Newcastle and Chelsea, which were a step in the right direction, and then obviously the victory over Everton and the victory over Nottingham Forest has maybe added more support in his favour in terms of the board. And obviously, then playing against Manchester United, having a reasonably good game against them, unfortunately, get put out. It's always tough to say you've had a good game and then you get beat 3-1 in the FA Cup. But truth be told, we did actually have a good performance. And I wasn't expecting that performance against Brighton. Declan Rice came out, spoke. He said, as a player, I'm hurting to be out there. It was demoralising to stand there and try to defend and see them keep the ball. I just couldn't understand how we couldn't get a hold of the ball. I think Flynn Downs came on for the last 15 minutes, and he did more in 15 minutes for West Ham than what any of those players collectively put on the park together. We needed the fight. We needed the grit, determination to win that ball back. And none of the players on that park could do it. We could not get a hold of it. There was no performance to scrutinise. There was nothing. It was literally like Brighton went, let's play ball, let's hold on to possession, let's frustrate them, let's pick the holes, and let's do it. That's why, for me, did we do our homework? Did Moyes do his homework? Did we become a bit too bending over backwards? Were we too respectful? Were we too nice of the situation? And that performance caused the travelling fans to lash out at Moyes, but not just the travelling fans. You know, I'm not able to get to games much this season, but me sitting here, like, it's really that defeat really hit home for me. It really did. You know, I've been teetering for a while about what the situation is at West Ham, but my word, man, you need to see some form of progression, not regression, and that's regression to its fullest, 100%. He spent more than 160 million last summer in an attempt to try and challenge for Europe and push the top of the league. But many of the signings have failed to impress, and Moyes' attempts to find a consistent 11 have been hit by injuries, but he doesn't seem to know his best 11. And there are concerns there. And you're telling me you don't think there's a little bit of unrest happening within the dressing room. Today, you're hearing news about Newcastle sniffing around players that they've already been linked to, that West Ham brought in. A Gerd who wouldn't. I mean, we have to put two and two together and look at the players of the quality that we've got and think that bigger clubs, not saying Newcastle are bigger clubs, but clubs who have got money, financial clout, that might be sniffing around our players, whether they stay in the Premier League or not. Gerd is one. We know the quality of player that he is and the amount of money that he could generate. And Paqueta, another player as well. We know the amount of money that he could generate and produce, etc. But we do need these players fighting fit. I'm concerned for the rest of the season in terms of what path Moyes is going to take West Ham on, because for me, it was clear to see that something had to be changed a lot earlier in the game against Brighton. But Moyes didn't do it. And as much as we talk on these shows and say, why did Moyes not do something that looks so blatant? And then we're, Anton and Russ, sitting here from our living rooms giving you West Ham content. It baffled me. It really baffled me more than anything he's done this season, to be honest. This one particular baffled me. I heard the comment Russ said yesterday in the video where he said that if this was a Crystal Palace and maybe we'd been defeated by or I think he said something along the lines of, if it was maybe 2-0, then it would have been about 20% less. No, and I know Russ went on to say it was the manner in which we were defeated, and it was the manner. It was, we gave up, and we gave up very quickly. And when you come out for the second half, there was even a little ounce of confidence in me going that, well, we're going to see the second half West Ham. Oh my God, man, we regressed again. We regressed again. I think we couldn't even hold the ball for more than 8 passes in any of the game before turning the ball over and giving the opposition a chance. But we've got a big game against Larnaca midweek, and we need to do something in that game. We need to show the fans that we're unified. We need to show the club that we're unified. Moyes needs to show that he has not lost that dressing room. Moyes needs to go at this game, not defensively. Are you absolutely ridiculous? Go for this game. Go and get the win in the first half. Give the players the run out that they need. Give Skamaka a bloody run out on the park. have him fighting fit, rearing to go for the game against Aston Villa, because it's all guns blazing against Aston Villa. We cannot turn up to that game and give them an ounce of confidence. Like, I'm talking a minuscule of confidence, because I'm telling you what, we gave 100% everything in terms of confidence towards Brighton. We do that against Aston Villa and we'll get punished. And teams will be looking at West Ham right now and going, shit, man, they're easily predictable. Because right now I feel that we are actually probably the most predictable team in the league. The thing is, though, we're drip feeding points. We are getting the odd point here, there, and everywhere. We are getting the odd victory here, there, and everywhere. And the coincidental thing is that could be enough to keep West Ham up. Yes, the fear of relegation is there, but drip feeding these points could be why West Ham stay up and 3 other teams below us being worse than what West Ham are. However, never say never. I want West Ham to get out of this situation more than the next fan. And I think we can. I really do think we can. But what we need to see on the park is consistency. Because that is, I don't know what we saw against Brighton, but that was ridiculous. And as the title says, has David Moyes lost the dressing room at West Ham? I'm not 100% sure, convinced that he's fully got the back in there. Is there a bit of unrest between him and his coaching staff? Kevin Nolan knows the club. He loves the club. He's been there, done that, wore the T-shirt with the club. What are they thinking about the situation? He's a bit of a proactive player. He was a bit of a proactive player. He liked to get forward, liked to score goals, but he gets stuck in for his team, and he certainly won't be liking the performances he's seen on the park. And he should be chin wagging Declan Rice and saying, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? It's time to man up. It's time to step up. And this team, it is time to step up once and for all for the rest of this season. We've not got many games to go, but we need to save our season. Anyway, there you go for the daily. Join me later on for the Hammers headlines. Short and sweet one for you. Has David Moyes lost the dressing room at West Ham? Let me know your opinion on it. And of course, as we always do, come on, you Irons.